Hi, my name is Travis Grady, and welcome to my presentation on habits. Habits affect every aspect of our daily lives. Do you have a habit you'd like to change? How about a habit you'd like to create? To start off, I'd like to tell you a story about a monkey who loves blackberry juice. Meet Julio. Through an experiment, Julio showed us how habits are formed. Scientists placed Julio in front of a screen and would occasionally flash shapes onto the screen. Whenever Julio saw a shape, he would pull a lever and a drop of blackberry juice would come down. As he repeated this process, the habit became stronger. Soon, scientists realized that whenever a shape was shown, Julio's brain exhibited a pleasure response. Julio's brain had created a neurological craving for the blackberry juice. That's why habits are so powerful. They create neurological cravings. Habits matter because they impact every aspect of our daily lives, from the professional to the personal. Successful companies know this. Starbucks created an entire training program around creating great habits. However, habits can also lead to destruction. A habit is a collection of actions we perform automatically. There are three different parts of a habit. The trigger, like the shapes on Julio's experiment, the action, like Julio pulling on the lever, and a reward, like Julio's blackberry juice. A trigger is an event that causes the brain to begin performing a habit. Possible triggers can include physical objects, like a cigarette or a smartphone, emotions like happiness or sadness, stimulation or stress. Action: when we see or feel a trigger, we perform an action. Good actions can include going for a run when we feel stressed, or taking a deep breath when we feel nervous. Bad actions can include binging on a tub of ice cream when we feel disappointed, or texting while driving. Rewards are the payoff. They're the reason why we perform the habit. Rewards can include the engagement from texting, the stimulation from smoking, or the blackberry juice in Julio's experiment. To change a bad habit, we have to change the action. Keep in mind that changing a bad habit requires quite a bit of willpower. We will have a much better chance of changing a bad habit if we understand the three parts of a habit in more depth. First, we determine the trigger. A great way to find the trigger is to use a habit journal. Whenever you feel the urge to complete the habit, record where you are, what time is it, what is your emotional state, who is around you, and what was the activity immediately preceding. The action, in contrast, is the easiest to find. However, the only way to change the bad habit is to change the action. For example, you can change the action of smoking a cigarette to drinking a cup of coffee. Both satisfy the need for stimulation. The reward is also somewhat difficult to find. Often, there are multiple possible rewards. For example, do you smoke because you want the stimulation or because you want the socialization? It is critical that you find the right action for the right reward. Let's go through a common scenario in business. Your morning has been a dull slog of uninspired PowerPoints. You feel your phone vibrate in your pocket. You try to resist, but you pull out your phone and you play Angry Birds. As such, you are seen by your colleagues as disrespectful. So how can we change this habit? We have to apply the method. First, we determine the trigger, the boredom and pulling out the phone. Next, we determine the action, pulling out your phone and playing Angry Birds. And finally, we determine the reward. This is the reason why we do the habit, in this case, engagement. So, to change the habit, we change the action. So, we don't want to pull the phone out of our pockets and play Angry Birds, so we have to change to something that engages us, because that's our reward. In this case, I recommend doodling. Doodling is beneficial because it allows us to focus and is respectful to the speaker. Habits can not only be beneficial on an individual level, but also on a corporate level. Alcoa, a metalworking company, was at one time one of the safest companies to work in the US. And they did this by cultivating habits around safety. In fact, it was so safe that it was more dangerous to work at a computer programming firm. So, how do we create new habits? In the case of an exercise routine, what is an example of what you could do is tie your shoes before you go for breakfast. That's your trigger. Go for your run. That's your action. And then finally, make yourself a delicious protein shake when you get back. That's your reward. To assist in habit retention and creation, I recommend Habit RPG. Habit RPG uses RPG elements to reward good actions with experience and gold and punish bad actions with a health penalty. Habits have the potential to change our destiny. In this digital age, it is critical that we understand our habits. Never before have we been so connected or so distracted. From changing an entire corporate culture to texting while driving, I hope this presentation has showed you the power of habit. In closing, here are my top 3 tips for habit change. Focus on one habit at a time, take the time to find the trigger and the reward, and change a bad habit during a vacation. I'd like to thank Charles Duhigg for his book, The Power of Habit, and Julio for his love of blackberry juice.